and be okay.
So I think
without any jail time.
So the question is like the crime won't happen again, not that So if you commit a crime and that crime won't happen again. So like if you commit murder, there'll never be any murders anymore.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So we're eradicating all of whatever the crime is.
Yes.
I see. That's a great question. Oh my goodness. Let me think on that for a second. Who is that asking that question?
That was that you, Zuper?
Yeah, I said murder.
Who would you kill?
Someone that everyone hates.
Who is that?
I'll figure it out.
We can't say
I'll do a poll, and I won't do it on camera.
I mean, I don't know about that.
the poll will
I don't know about that.
That's a hard one, right?
That's a really hard question. So, honestly, okay. I'm still in the finances. I'm going to the IRS. Who are they anyway? They're not even a government entity. We shouldn't say that. They're not even a government entity.
They just be taking our money.
Yes.
Are you stealing? What is your crime?
Again, I'm just tearing their shit up.
I don't know what crime.
I don't know what the crime is, but they will be gone after I'm done. Okay.
Man, yeah, because it's hard because it's like a crime that's supposed to be. Yeah, that's a daddy issues question. I can't. The crime, because then it's like you're guilty of that crime, and so you have to pay the time. That's such a hard question.
That's a very hard question. I'm sorry. What was this person's name again?
Zuper.
Where you get that from? That's a hard question.
That's a hard question. Yeah, because all of them is like to me, murder is unfair. Like death, people dying, that's just not right.
The thing is, like now, you're committing murder. Now that's you passing a judgment to say that someone deserves to die.
So like Haley asked earlier, like if it was like manslaughter or attempted murder where you just didn't do it, does it still cover murder? This
is actually very deep. This is creating deep thinking because it also taps into fundamentally who you are as a person and what you think is deserving of a crime.
And does it have to be to a person? Like murdering an ant.
That's why I'm saying okay. I mean, like, oh my gosh. That's why I'm saying, like, tear up the IRS or the Fannie Mae
something.
People, not
the
an
real
individual.
Crime. That's so hard.
Oh man, I'm gonna be thinking about that for a few days.
The question is a fantastic question. Mm-hmm. It would have to be something you can be convicted of. Jeez. I'm going to pray about that. I ain't got no answer for y'all.
You don't have to do it.
I'm going to pray about it. Lord, what crime should I commit if it helps your people?
Okay. Can we figure out a way to get rid of all the people who have come and taken over countries that didn't belong to them?
Colonizing. Get rid of the colonizing. That's a crime.
Huh?
They still do. Russia is literally doing it now to Ukraine.
China is literally doing it to Africa.
Yeah. Dion, is the camera?
So you got to colonize them?
Yeah, so you have to do that. You got an army?
I can find some people.
Look, if I gotta do the time,
we all doing it.
We gonna be in there together.
Dion, is the camera running? Do I have to get up? Okay, I was checking.
Where y'all going? Where y'all going?
I gotta drop her off.
Where?
I know, right? It's just us. I mean, we could talk. China is doing it to Africa economically, not with an army. So we could do it with the army. No, you can keep rolling.
They are actually doing it with an army as well. It's really deep. And it's even deeper because the leadership in those countries are allowing this foolishness to happen due to greed. It's so sad.
Yeah, no, I definitely go, and you go to places and you see buildings being built super fast, like buildings and businesses, and you have people coming to like buy land and working in different African countries, but then then people, you have a lot of Chinese or a lot of Black Africans in China to get educations, but being treated like crap.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's a lot. China is doing it here in Australia as well. Well done.
Yes, I witnessed that when I was in Australia.
Really?
The takeover is real.
Zuper is our Australian representative over here. He's over there doing real estate and got the monies and the houses.
Okay, Zuper.
Um,
By the way, I love Australia. I really do.
really?
Yeah.
I said I'd never go because of the insects and the wildlife, and I stand by it.
If I'm telling you, if somebody said move today, I would move to Australia.
Really?
I loved it there.
I think I like it, but I have a thing about.
I mean, it's like 5 Black people there, but
I actually have some cousins that live there.
really, that was probably one of the.
One of all right, people. We're officially live here, and here for sure, recording here. So I want to say welcome back to another random ass convo with Twills and Shoneji.
Hey.
You see, I just deleted Dion's name. I'm giving him such a hard time, and I'm loving it. But thank you for coming back, girl.
Thanks for having me again.
What you been up to? How's life?
Life is lifing. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, lifing can be a bad thing, so let me know.
You know, I'm not gonna claim anything bad.
Okay.
You know, even the challenges. We just gonna keep it pushing.
Just keep on.
Yes.
Just keep on. Yes. Let me tell you, y'all. Like you said, I'm not claiming anything bad. Life has actually been really good.
Amen.
But this monkeypox got me tripping.
Yo, let me tell you something. I was so out of the loop of the monkeypox, right? And I saw a post the other day, a young lady, I guess, who got monkeypox.
Uh-huh.
Yo. Nah. So what I realized is people are out here in these streets, they'll risk it all not caring about COVID, right?
Right.
But this monkeypox got everybody like, I'm good.
Because you can see it.
You can see it. And this actual post that I saw, now I don't know if it comes on other parts of the body, but this was on her face.
Yeah.
But what I'm understanding, because literally that day I was like, I got to do some more research on this. So they're actually going to reclassify it as a STD.
Really?
Yes, because apparently, because I was like, okay, so, you know, with COVID, they're like, wear your mask. I was like, so with monkeypox, what do you do? Wear gloves? Like,
right.
I didn't know how you could get it. And I'm thinking you just touch somebody, they touch you, and now you got these bumps all over. Well, apparently it is transmitted more readily through bodily fluids. And so the people that are currently at higher risk, they're saying are gay men. Mm-hmm. And so I guess this is mostly through sexual contact.
Well, it's also, also been doing my research listening. I was like, listen, y'all, I ain't got time for it. I'm tired of the pestilence here. But I got that word from Fifi, pestilence. But it's definitely like this level of like skin to skin. Mm-hmm. And I noticed like health providers are being really careful because how they really messed up with AIDS, HIV by calling it a gay disease or whatever. And then people were like, well, I can't get it. And here we are. And it just created such a stigma. So I know that it being very careful, but like gay men are in a high risk.
Correct. Which area. Is why I chose my words.
You sure did.
So yeah, you know, I feel like this feels like kind of the 80s all over again. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When that was the thing. But obviously everyone is so intertwined
Yeah.
that it doesn't matter who's at the highest risk at this moment.
You can all get it. We can all get
It
it.
can be spread.
And it's
So,
also like fabrics, like being too long on certain fabrics. Yeah, listen, I spray everything down. Or even like I was telling Dion, because we have like hand towels, we try to be environmentally friendly, so we have hand towels. And I was just like, how about we keep the hand towels out and we just use paper towels? And I know it's like it's not contagious during the period, from what I understand, like when the lesions start showing, that's when it's contagious, pretty much. So just being careful in our skin to skin contact. Wash your hands. Monkeys got a really bad rap because it didn't come from the monkeys.
you know, I
It came
swear,
from
let me tell you
rodents.
something. Those poor little monkeys just get blamed for everything. The monkeys ain't do it, y'all.
Yep.
It's terrible.
It says condoms don't protect you either. Bedding and other surfaces. Yeah.
I decided I'm gonna create a line of hazmat suit outfits.
Listen, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I guess I gotta get a hazmat suit. I travel for work next week, and I was like, staying in a hotel.
I know, right? I don't want to go anywhere at this point. I'm scared to just go outside.
Yeah, I was like, what level of the plague is this? Like,
Seriously.
like,
And you know, our good Christian folks, they're like, this is written.
it might be.
So, you know, it's like, well, I mean, my goodness.
I'm like, you know, like I was like, you got fires everywhere, Spain, plagues all throughout. This is year 3 of a plague. I'm tired of it. Like, what is really happening? So that's the part of life that be life and that I'm not feeling.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm gonna put that's that. But otherwise, a girl can't complain. Cannot complain. Good sis Beyonce dropped a new album. Are you a Beyonce fan?
I am quite the Beyonce fan.
Okay, I didn't want to put you on the streets like that for you to say no and then the Beehive be like, what, girl?
No, I love Beyonce. House and Ever.
House of Nava, let us know.
I'll say this particular single isn't one of my faves.
The soul, whatever.
Yeah.
That song.
But what I do know, in true Beyonce fashion, doesn't matter if I like it or not. I'm going to be singing it with my hands in the air because they're gonna play it
Yeah.
to death.
Have you heard the album yet?
I've heard some songs.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the whole
I
album.
am. So when I first heard Break My Soul, I was like, for some reason, it reminds me of like a 90s Oprah introduction. That's what's in my head every time I hear it. And my sister was like, house music just is like affirmations on repeat. Like,
That's actually funny. That's funny.
oh man. But then it's also like, so I heard the album, and one thing about me, I've been a diehard Beyonce fan since Destiny's Child, yes. But then like I've always been like a person who has to go on to like the second listen to really like appreciate the song or the album. But I was like, I like disco. I like most pop house tracks or whatever. So like I was like, oh, this album is speaking to me.
Okay.
It's like my vibe. Like if I had it on vinyl, like part of me thinks I should have been born or went to college in the 70s when they had that good music. Y'all just don't know. You children just don't know.
I tell people all the time that I believe that was my era. I think the 70s was my era.
Right?
I do.
Yeah.
That's so my vibe.
Yeah. I just love, I just put on that and a little funk, like disco funk. I am a happy person. I think it'd been great to go out at clubs and in college during that time. I would have had a good time. But as it is, like I feel like every time people put out an album nowadays, they get some pushback. So
Of course.
and so recently, well, as soon as Beyonce put the album out, Khalees was like, how you gonna sample my song and not give me credit?
Which song?
There was a loop of Milkshake in energy. I couldn't hear it. Nobody could hear it. I couldn't hear it. Some people could hear it. Let me know if y'all could hear it. I love Alien Superstar Spicy. That is my song. That and Cozy and Church Girl and Thick
Well, all of
and
them.
Pure.
All of them.
Plastic Off the Sofa. Yeah, all of them. But so like Khalees pretty much went online ranting about how she didn't get credit. Beyonce didn't even give her a call. They have mutual friends. She should have been a real woman and called her. The thing is, Khalees doesn't get writing credit for that song. That's all Pharrell. And then Pharrell produced the track. So Pharrell got credit. And she was like, well, if Beyonce was a real woman, she would have put me on. Beyonce yesterday just like took her off. The sample is no longer there.
Wait, what?
The sample is not there. Pharrell still gets his credit, but is off.
And that's a real woman.
She's-
Because listen. You talking about be a real woman, you should have contacted me. If that were the case, this is business. So why wouldn't you just have your people reach out? Why would you need
Right.
to go on social media and blast some stuff like that?
Right.
That's not cool.
Right, and now it's like, and nobody's thinking about you.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate to hear that. Like that's bad all the way around.
Yeah. Just, yeah,
So how? Wait a minute. So how should take the sample off like that?
because, you know, like, so anybody who ordered the CD will have the sample on there. But, you know, like, all they had to do was go in the studio and then replace it on all the platforms digitally. Because nobody downloads like that.
I guess she was like, all right, sis, I got you.
She was
Duly
like,
noted.
and next. She was like, I'm not wasting my time on this one.
And I'm not going back and forth with you.
Right. She did not. She was like, I don't have the energy, so I will not.
The song was called Energy.
Uh-huh.
Yikes.
Yeah.
People have got to do better about some of these decisions that they're making.
Yeah.
Like, that just was uncalled
Yeah.
for.
And Zipper, to the point, Beyonce didn't steal the sample. Pharrell has the rights to that song. He owns the masters. The publishing. He owned the music. He wrote the lyrics. So she went the right way. There wasn't any stealing of samples. It was just Khalees felt slighted that she wasn't thought of.
So why not in a moment like that? And y'all let me know. Maybe I just think differently. In a moment like that, start putting your song out, the original song, and be like, hey, you know,
you hear my song in here?
She thought enough about my song that she, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, play up what you actually did.
This is a moment. Oh, I didn't know this. Spicy says, not for nothing, she didn't even contact Frankie Beverly and Mays before she did Before I Let Go.
Really? Well.
Yeah.
Now, I must say, I'm a huge Frankie Beverly and Mays fan. Yeah. Now, who is this that said that?
That was Spicy Original.
Spicy, how you know, girl? I want to know. Folk be saying stuff, and I ain't saying you wrong. But sometimes folk be saying stuff because they read it on the internet. How you know?
But I think that is one big, like, people always, like, come for Beyonce because they're like, I didn't know you were using my song. Even Robin, when Break My Soul came out, and people were, like, you know, referring to her song. I forget the name of Robin's song. But Robin was like, I didn't know. But I'm grateful for Beyonce for shedding light on house music.
And that's my thing. So that's my thing. And I must say, egos are typically the downfall for most people.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes let your ego sit down and utilize the moment to big yourself up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know the Khalees song that we're referring to.
Yeah, I think it was Milkshake.
Oh, it was Milkshake.
I think it was Milkshake.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
then I do know that song.
Yeah.
But
I only know Milkshake and Bossy. Don't ask me any other.
right. And I have the album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But still,
Yeah.
that was like
It was a moment. It
how
was,
many years
yeah.
ago? So utilize that right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get
Bring
your
it
people.
back.
Get your people on it.
Yeah. She said, Spicy said he said it in a video in an interview.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was he mad?
Yeah, that's the question. Was he mad?
Was he mad?
Now, who else is mad? There is there's also some lyrics that it recently came to light that the word spaz is like a not nice word, that we shouldn't use that because it refers to individuals and it triggers individuals who actually deal with I'm not familiar with the disease or the issue, but it's pretty much just like referring to those people who are having spasms or can't control bodily motion. So it's like spazzing. So Lizzo had had some lyrics that she actually changed on one of her recent songs when that was brought to light. And then on Beyonce's album, she used the lyrics as well. She should have learned from Lizzo, but whatever. And so Beyonce promised to go re-record those lyrics as to not to offend. Mm-hmm. So Monica Lewinsky was like, well, while you're at it.
No, ma'am, and no,
she
sir.
went back a couple of albums. Like, can we change
She
these
want
lyrics?
her name
Yes.
out Beyonce's mouth. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I mean, listen. I understand the request.
Yeah, I get it. It's like, well, while we're doing this.
I mean, and it doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
And you know what? She probably will, even though everyone knows the words to Partition.
Yeah, it's not. I was like, the words aren't going to be erased from our memory.
They aren't.
But let's be fair. Like, Monica was young when that
absolutely.
happened, and that determined her. I'm pretty sure that impacted a lot, like jobs and all this other stuff. So I definitely get her being like,
she wants to separate herself from that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that she's the one who suffered the most in that scenario, but isn't that typical?
It's always the case.
So
yeah,
but
yeah.
Well, that's very interesting.
It is. Yeah, Fifi, like I never heard the word being used like to be an insult, but like if people are bringing it to light and we're in a time and era where we're just like, hey, especially on this album, Beyonce is like, I'm trying to lift up everybody, so I'm not trying to offend people. I get it.
The issue is culturally, like, things are ingrained in all of us.
Right.
So, we grew up saying certain things, and I feel like at this point, if something's brought to your attention, instead of giving all the pushback, just make the adjustment and keep it moving. If someone, a group of people are saying this is offensive to me, honor and respect that and keep it moving. I feel the same way about people that change their names, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, well, shoot, your mama ain't named you that. Well, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I made the decision that I'm changing my name, and just honor and respect that. But I feel like so many people have to try to prove a point. That,
and it's like, what point are you proving? Like, to the detriment of other people? Like, why are you so upset? Why are you mad for? So Spicy says, back to our question. Nope, they were not offended.
See?
He said she had them listen after she did it and they loved it. They were happy about it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That was a moment that he utilized, even though Frankie don't need to. Do y'all realize that Frankie, Beverly, and Maze haven't recorded an album in over 30 years?
I did not realize that, because people still be going to the concerts.
And let me tell you something about those concerts. Frankie ain't hardly ever singing. The mic is like this
right
the
here.
whole time, and everybody got the lyrics for Frankie because that voice box is toe up at this point. Yeah, I mean, he's aged. But people just enjoy it still. Yeah. But 30 years.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's success.
That is success because we vibe.
Yeah.
To their music.
Yes. That's crazy. I did not realize that.
Yep.
Like, what a career. That's so dope to me.
Agreed.
That's so dope. Can you imagine just like, work, live on, and you just eating?
Right.
You get to go perform.
Right, and people still show up to your concerts.
Selling out.
People still show up to your concerts.
Yeah.
You didn't wear the same outfit for 30 years.
Right.
And folk be around here talking about, I wore it once. It was already on Instagram. Frankie
I'm working on it.
wore the same outfit for 30 years.
That is. Frankie Beverly got to be 102 years old. She said same hat.
Same everything, man.
He always wears white. Y'all know.
See? Everybody knows, but we
Oh my
love
gosh.
Frankie.
We
love
do.
Frankie.
Cultural icon.
That is family reunion
100.
all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy because it's like definitely somebody mom and dad listened to and just kind of passed down the generations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I did not appreciate Frankie Beverly and Maze until like maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
about the same.
But it's because, number one, for me, it created a sense of nostalgia, you know, from being a kid.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's good music.
That is.
When it really takes you to a place
Yeah.
of feel good.
It's
So-
like, that's Earth, Wind, and Fire for me too. Like,
Oh, heck yeah.
I am.
Heck
My mom
yeah.
be like, how old are you?
Listen. And she did it probably. She probably was playing the music. But that stuff starts to become
Yeah.
a part of
Yeah.
who we are. One of my all-time favorite songs is We Are One by Frankie Beverly.
Yeah.
That's one of my all-time favorite
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yep. I'll put on some.
See?
I already told you I'm a 70s.
See?
It
See?
just-
Y'all about to be vibing, for real.
Yeah.
Everybody gonna
good.
get off of here and go play some Frankie Beverly.
Go do it. Go do it for your life. Earth, Wind, and Fire to me is life. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. What else you got? Oh, speaking of music, I went to go see Boyz II Men and TLC the other night
Where was that?
at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh.
And I was mad at the ticket prices. Y'all gonna say I was wrong. But I was like, each group is missing one member. The ticket should not be this price. I am not getting the full experience. What?
It is not their fault that the members are missing.
I'm just saying that ticket price should have been dialed down just a little bit.
You had a choice.
I
And
was
what
like,
did you do?
I went because middle school me was like,
And
yes.
boom, there it is.
I knew all the words,
See?
but I had to do all the raps for Left Eye and all,
And she
all
was-
the deep talking
and
for.
she was present.
Listen, no, it was really beautiful how they did it. Like, especially when Waterfalls came on, they let lights come on and people do the verse, and it was a really beautiful tribute. With Boyz II Men, they just acted like Michael was never part of the group. They took out the talking points. The little deep girl.
I don't like that because that was special.
Yeah,
I really liked him. In
I did
Boyz II Men.
too. I did too.
And he just don't want to come back. I know he's sick, right?
Yeah, he had back issues, and I think it was like the group was kind of tough. Like you need to either come back or you out, and so he was just like, for my health, I can't do it, so I'm out. And I don't know if that was taken kindly or whatever, but they did a little cover. They were doing with the Philharmonic, like the Philharmonic played. They did a little cover of Lenny Kravitz's "American Woman" with Wanye singing and Sean and Nathan on the guitar. And what else they do? They did a couple of other covers. They're like, we just want to do something different for y'all tonight. And everybody was like, but Motown Philly. Play Motown Philly. And they didn't do it. They did not play Motown
Okay,
Philly.
now for that reason alone, I would have wanted some money back. I'm gonna give you that. You cannot. First of all, that's what put them on the map.
Thank you.
The suspenders with the shorts and
Come
the
on.
bow tie.
ABC BBD.
Come on.
I was ready for the every.
That's what put Boyz II Men
Yeah.
on that song. Motown Philly back again.
Stephanie had her little dance on Full House that she was doing to that. That was how you knew
You
it was pop.
can't leave that out of the set.
They were like,
Boyz
no.
II Men. You cannot.
Everybody, because we're like at the end they were like, are you people started yelling Motown Philly, Motown Philly,
they
and there was no
didn't do it.
encore. They were cleaning the stage.
You know what? Maybe they can't do it without Mike's
that
bass.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm just making some little.
that was actually, I'm listening to it, I'm like, yeah,
You know what I'm
but they had
saying?
some instruments there that could have.
I mean, I'm sure by now, over all these years, they could have figured that out.
They could have figured that one out.
We gonna go with that story. That's what it was.
Oh man. So that's that. But that was good. It was still fun. I had fun. I always love the Hollywood Bowl because you can bring your own wine.
Period.
It's like, this venue gets me. You can bring your own food in. You can bring your own wine. Nobody's questioning you. That's how it should be.
Lord, you're easy.
I'm easy to please. Listen. But you were telling me, you shared something with me about this young lady, FAMU.
Oh, wow.
What's going on here? Tell me the tea.
So, it's funny. You were talking about Monica Lewinsky and, how things happened when she was younger and, she was impressionable and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So, I'm a graduate of Florida A&M University. FAMU, to those who don't know, the #1 public historically black college and university located on the highest of 7 hills in Tallahassee, Florida.
I'm gonna let her have this one since she's telling the story. But HU in the building. Howard, let's go.
Okay. Gotta throw that end point on there. So, guys, listen, it's become a thing. When you graduate, the kids are doing these amazing photo shoots, right? Like,
yes.
And I'm gonna tell you this, it's gotta be really tough being a young person in this day and age of social media, because it's always like you have to top what you've seen.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I feel. So this particular young lady, and I must add, she was not raised by FAMU. She did not go to undergrad at FAMU. She was a transfer student and earned her master's degree at FAMU. And we are proud of you, sis. Kudos to you, girl. You did that. But for her graduation photo shoot, she decided to pose completely naked in front of one of the newest iconic statues on the campus. Completely naked.
I mean, girl got body.
She got body. She looks amazing. And honestly, the photo shoot is fire.
Yeah.
The issue becomes the choice.
Yeah.
Because what we have to always think about is context, place, and time, right? What's appropriate and what's not? This is a historical university. What are we selling here? Right? And everybody is in the space of representation matters. And it does. But that's not the representation that we're looking for at Florida A&M University. Now, she had a caption, when she posted about something about, women being able to showcase who they are and their sexuality, accept that and all that stuff. And I'm all for that. But don't do that on the campus.
Yeah.
So that's really the thing. But I'm gonna tell you, the part that's bothering me the most is not even her photo shoot.
What is it?
The part that's bothering me the most are the comments.
Okay, let's go. Comment section is my favorite. Go ahead.
Comment section. So the comment section under this young lady's post is a wild place.
Really?
It's a wild place. And I had to sit with it because what I am realizing, and I've noticed this before, but what I'm really realizing is all of a sudden, everybody is a talk show host, a judge, a juror, an executioner. And I mean, let's face it. I mean, even what we're doing right now, it's our opinions.
Yeah.
But some people are really trying to force their opinions on the next person. But I think people forget, when you are making comments, there is a human being on the other side of that comment. And in this case, this is a young person. And for a lot of the people that are making these comments, some of y'all got some kids that's making some dumbass decisions too. And I would ask you as a parent, how would you feel for another adult
Yeah.
to talk about or to your child in the way that some of these comments fly.
Right.
And I think that's the part that's bothering me most, because this is somebody's child.
Right.
And so if you've got some criticism that could actually be helpful, share that. But if you're just out here calling this girl out of her name,
Yeah.
you are grown.
Cutting people down, yeah.
This is a kid. And I can only say I am thankful that there was no social media when I was effing
That
real.
part.
Because we've all made some poor decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, these kids have their poor decisions on full display for everyone to attack.
Right.
So
how's the administration like acting? Like, what was their response to her?
I don't know what the administration's response was, but something that was quite funny was there is immediately a sign that's been posted saying that that particular area is under surveillance 24/7. Smile, you are on camera.
Oh my goodness.
So-
That was their thing.
That was the
Calm
thing,
down.
yes.
No repeats.
Right.
Yeah.
We see you.
Yeah. I mean, and it says a lot because, like there is, like you said, there's the social media aspect. Everybody's like, we have straight out photo shoots for everything
Yes,
nowadays.
absolutely.
And like, listen, my business partner / best friend is a photographer. So I get my pictures taken for my birthday every year. Thank you, Dion. But it's also like you said, you have to live up to those things, but you're also being like creative. Like, wouldn't it be cool if I just showed like all of my, like, I'm a woman, I became a woman here. Let me stand in front of the place that made me a woman, or whatever the representation is. And, that's art. And I'm sure people have done it, but it hasn't been like
On full display.
or like plastered on like social media. Like,
Yep.
that's one of those things back in the day. Like, you were like, oh, I did this. It's in your little memory photo
Right.
book. Something crazy you did. But now the platform in the world is just so much larger, and you don't think about the repercussions. I'm sure she didn't think she was going to get all of that.
I mean, and to be honest, you never know, because a lot of these kids, again, and I'm saying kid, she's probably in her 20s.
I think she's 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kid. So a lot of these folks are looking for clout. A lot of these people, they want to just become Insta famous,
Yeah.
So you never know what the motive was behind it. But again, for me, it's not even about what she did.
Yeah.
It's how people respond to what she
Yeah.
did. And it's a tough thing, because yes, if you are really wanting to flaunt the fact that you earned this degree, these 2 degrees, which again is amazing, what is your plan with those degrees? Because you are now putting yourself in a position where you could potentially cut yourself out of a lot of opportunities because of what?
But then also, maybe she's making her own way for opportunities. Like, she made this splash. Like, I don't know what the girl's major was. Was it communications?
I feel like I want to say education.
Oh.
I feel like that's what it was. If anybody knows or is familiar with this story, put it in the comments. But I believe it was education.
Yeah, like I feel like maybe she's making her own way, because we also live in a world where Kim Kardashian put out a sex tape.
Absolutely.
And she is out here killing the game.
Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And like I said, that's why I'm saying I don't have a problem with the shoot itself.
Yeah,
it's where you chose to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to compare FAMU's campus to the church. But some things it's just off limits like that, because of the representation of it all.
Do you kind of feel like things have been watered down? Like you said, it's not the church, but I definitely seen a case where like somebody snuck their friend in the church to shoot a music video, and it was ratchet, Lord. I was like, you didn't get struck down for this?
Well, I saw a video yesterday. Somebody was twerking for Jesus. So, I mean, we're doing all kinds of things out
Jesus
in these
didn't ask for this.
Jesus did not pay it all
Right.
for this.
Yeah. Spicy makes a good point. The internet, social media has been around this girl's entire life. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the thing, Spicy. So I know my girls and I were back for homecoming last year, right? And one of the things we noticed walking the campus, now let's be clear. At most HBCUs, you going to class fly. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like we just do that.
Yes.
But this is on a whole nother level at this point. And the money that these kids are spending
I can't
on
even
like
imagine.
designer things, because you gotta keep up with everything that's going on the internet. I feel like it's too much pressure.
I can't imagine.
I can't either.
Can I say this? Because I went to grad school at Howard. So coming from a PWI, where you go to school in your PJs.
Right.
You go to class in your PJs in the morning, then you come back, you get right so you could go in the yard. Howard, I was like, they are wearing heels. It is snowing outside. They are walking uphill,
Absolutely.
full makeup. So with the level of social media, because this was more like people were just getting Facebooks and stuff. But like now it's like, I can't imagine to have to go with a full beat contour face.
Contoured. Absolutely.
Nice wig.
Lace wig.
Yes.
Sprayed down.
And
Baby hairs.
yes. I cannot.
And the designer bag.
Right. That
No.
you had to get with your student loan money. It just ain't right.
Okay.
Like,
Right. So yeah, it's I think, like I said, it's a lot of pressure. I think that's why we're seeing such high levels of depression. And even suicide with these kids, because it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Because you got to live that life, then you got to go and get good grades. Because there's that other pressure that you don't want, that still exists for when you go to college, is the good grades, good internship, so you can get a good job.
Right.
And then it's like, but not only do you have to be that, because like also looking at like the caliber of students applying for college and what they have to come in with, I wouldn't have gotten into the schools I got into. Like these kids have to pretty much be doing their own research projects, have traveled abroad, maybe speaking a different language to get into school. So then you're keeping up with all of that.
But then maybe you're not trying to land a good job.
Yeah.
Maybe you're trying to land your fame on the internet to become an influencer.
Yeah.
So even, it's still just so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you make a great point. He says it's really up to parents to teach their kids about social media, and you can't have it leave it up to them to teach themselves the whole way. That is 100, because
Well, at this point, it's going to have to start very young, because social media is here. Like, Twilla, you were saying that when you were in college, y'all were seeing the beginning stages of Facebook.
Yeah.
We didn't have none of that when I was in college.
Right.
Like, I don't even think MySpace was when I was in college. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we didn't have any of that. We still had the cameras that you had to take to Ecker drugstore to get developed.
not Eckert's.
So like there was none of that happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It changed so fast. And it's just like, here we are. And it's also like, it's up to parents, but then parents also means
They
they have
don't
to,
know.
they don't know. Like a lot of parents don't know. I don't care how millennial you are. It's still like some stuff you just don't know. You're trying to keep up. And
it's changing.
Yeah.
Because, as a parent, all these different platforms, I can't keep up.
Right.
I heard that now kids aren't even using Instagram anymore.
no,
Like
they have-
that's
or if they don't, they have like their Finsta, their fake Instagram account.
right.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's just a lot. Y'all gonna hear me say that over and over again. It's just a lot. And I don't have kids, but honey,
It's stressful. Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. Let's see some of these comments. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit because I feel like y'all been laughing. Nobody can replace Michael though. You're right. I liked him too. I thought he was fine. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. My Boyz II Men crush, while everybody was fawning over like Wanye or Sean, Twilla was all about Nathan.
Them lips.
The lips and the little glasses. I was like, that dude. We all thought that cane and limp was for style.
Oh, damn it.
But Mike was like, nigga, I'm in distress.
Oh. Oh, man.
Jesus. Oh gosh, spicy. Was that? Oh gosh, I can't. Whew. Everybody thought Michael was smooth. Didn't know he really needed that cane. Fifi is like, no telling what I would have done if social media was around during my youth.
Honey.
Or it's just like the silly things you do. Like the silly thing. Like think about all the silly things that you do. And then you post it, and then somebody's like, "Oh, that's a crime." What? Like, I was just having fun.
And the fact that so many people now, it's not even about what you do today. That's why I'm so concerned about this young lady.
Yeah.
This is not just a moment today.
Yeah.
This is not going anywhere, even if you delete it from your page. The folks will go and find it.
Right.
Because that is the way of the world also.
Yeah.
Researching individuals, if you're applying for employment or whatever it is, they're going to look you up. Listen, I've done a few television shows, right?
Uh-huh.
And I remember having to do a background check for one of the shows that I did. And they sent us the transcript of what it was that they were researching. They were going so far back on my Facebook, my Instagram. There were moments that were highlighted of things that were, suspect, that maybe comments that I had made on other people's pages.
Oh my goodness.
I had no idea that they went that extensive, but there are companies that are designed to simply go and see what you do, what you talk about, what you comment on, what you find funny on social media.
I kind of can. Okay, hear me out. That's scary.
It is very scary.
But can you imagine you had something checked, like something like that, when you're dating somebody, you really feeling somebody? Let me just get his, like, your social security number don't do it anymore.
No.
I can't
Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Let me see who pictures you liking.
Mm-hmm. Let me know something.
Let me see.
What comments you making?
How many praying hands you putting on people's pages? Yeah.
Does it tell you who DMs you slipped into?
Ha! No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they can see the DMs.
I just...
But that might come later. They might be checking DMs too.
I'm saying that sounds like a tool for the greater good. It might save some people some heartache. I'm just saying.
And monkeypox. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. I saw somebody say something about Black Planet. Spicy. Come on, Black Planet. And what's Michigan? What's that? Spicy, what we talking about?
What'd she say?
She said, come on, Black Planet and my Henty gang? My people? What? So glad there's no proof of my college shenanigans. Spicy, leave Nate with the underbite alone. Girl, why are you hating so hard? You have been cutting up in these comments, Spicy, and now somebody can go follow your transcript, see what you've been saying.
See what you saying, Spicy.
Oh my gosh. Jamoya had to get top secret clearance in the military, and I had to worry about who I was talking to. So they told us they were running a background check once. It's for a project I was working on with the First Lady, FLOTUS, the Forever FLOTUS, Michelle Obama.
Of course,
that one.
The only First Lady.
I was like, let's make sure this is right.
This is the only First Lady I know.
And I was like, what if they find something in my background that I don't even know about, and I can't even work on this project? Because you don't know.
You don't know. And like we were talking about with Beyonce and Lizzo, we don't know what people find offensive right now.
Yeah.
So things like, and I'll bring up Kendrick Lamar.
Uh-huh.
you know, in his song, what is it called? Auntie Diaries.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's throwing a word out that back in the day everybody used to say that word. It was no big deal. So you imagine you still throwing that word out, and now all of a sudden, oh my God, there's a whole group of people that are offended by this word.
Right.
But you typing that all in your post, and
Yeah.
and now that was from 10 years ago.
Right. And now you're
No, you cannot work with Flotus because you 10 years ago called somebody that and
Right.
put laughing emojis behind it because
Right.
you were joking.
right. And it doesn't give room, like a lot of things people, especially the public space, does not give room for growth.
No.
We don't extend grace to people. So
No.
it's like, even if you said that, yes, we understand it's a horrible word and you shouldn't use it. If you said that 20 years ago, we're still holding that over you.
Yes. And you know why?
What's that?
It's because finally the African American community is saying we're not going to take this anymore. And other people are like, well, if you're not going to take it, we're not going to take it. that's like somebody that you're upset with that wronged you and now you're mad, but they got an attitude with you because you mad at them.
That brings me to a whole nother thought. But to address that, like, I feel like it is part of like things we're not going to take or we're not going to accept. But I also think it's other groups, not necessarily adverse or against, but who's just saying like, oh, and because they're not taking it, we're not taking it.
Exactly my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Exactly my point. So that's why they're
Yeah.
like, well, we're just going to shut it down
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
So if you ever said it,
Right.
then shame on you, cancel you.
But then forced to like give grace to other. That's my other thought. But so all in that to say, yeah, it's like we don't allow people room to grow. And so I am like, I think it's important to hold people accountable, but I also think like you have to hear people out when they're like, yo, I didn't know this was a dangerous word when I was using it. I apologize and trust and believe I'm not that person and I won't be anymore. Like, let me prove that to you.
Yeah.
Because people will quick to be like,
Cancel.
yeah. And now if all their behavior and their words lined up, then like, yes, okay. But
Yeah.
yeah. Have you ever like, do you have Twitter?
I do have Twitter.
Have you ever gone like back just to make sure like nobody can hold anything against you?
No, because
No?
I know what I speak on.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is I didn't use my Twitter probably for the past 8 years
Yeah.
because I locked myself out of it and I couldn't remember my password. But somehow, maybe about 2 months ago, somehow I got back in it.
Okay.
So I was able to see posts and, you know,
Yeah.
different things. And I was like, wow, I said that. But it wasn't anything bad,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, but it was just interesting to go back and see where my mind was
Right.
of the things that I, you know, would post and that whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm definitely not a cringe posting person. Like
Yeah.
I've never like that's one good thing. I've gone back and I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything that
yeah. You know.
Now, political opinions, you will get it all. IG, Facebook, whatever. You're gonna hear my thoughts. And if you hold that against me, well, we weren't made for like I wasn't supposed to be on this anyway.
What else?
Oh, Mi Gente was a Latinx version of Black Planet in MySpace.
Oh.
Did not know that.
Me either. I went up in Nate's space.
I did not know that. That's what's up. I don't even think you should be apologizing for stuff you said decades ago. That's crazy. I think someone has, if you think someone hasn't outgrown or hasn't grown and changed by then, it says more about your characters than theirs.
Well, we could take that and run with it in so many different areas, which is why we see young black boys being sentenced to life in prison for crimes that others might be viewed as, oh, they're just boys being boys. So it's there are certain people that are not given grace,
Yeah, we're not. Yeah,
or room to grow. It just is, you said it,
you're a bad
we're
person.
offended,
Yeah,
you're horrible, and we're gonna toss you away.
right.
But that, that doesn't happen across the board.
It doesn't. I had a random thought. I was telling this to my mom the other day. Why was I thinking about this in the shower? I don't know. But I was thinking about like how as Black people we can explain how something triggers trauma, or like people, and then people are quick to be like, oh, you're playing the race card. All white people aren't like that. But let somebody else say something like, well, she had a bad experience with men, or, she had a bad experience with Black people and she's used to that, so we just have to be gentle with her. And I was like, Black people aren't given that same grace.
No.
When it comes to that. And I was like, but we're just supposed to accept everybody else's trauma, but people don't relate to our trauma.
And what does that even mean? You're playing the race card. When I hear that term, it makes me cringe, because I'm like, what does that even mean?
What does it mean?
What does it mean? Somebody please tell me what that means.
What card is there?
Yes.
What game
Because
is this?
that's the problem. Y'all think
Yeah.
it's a game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what does that even mean? I'm offended. Period. And I shouldn't have to explain that. The same way that people that are offended by the word spaz, or offended by the F word, or the N word, or
We
whatever.
take that as face value. Like,
I'm
you're offended.
Fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, honor that and fix it. So the race card. Ugh.
Yeah. I hate that. And I was just like, why can't we just give grace? Why can't you believe Black people?
That's the problem. We're never believed.
Yeah.
Ask Emmett Till. Oh, we can't.
You see, there's like they're trying to get homegirl arrested.
They showed her little picture.
They showed her picture, and they apparently
Take
she's
her
blind.
ass to jail. I don't care if she died the next day. Take her to jail.
That's called justice.
Take her to jail
Yep.
and let her sit there. I don't care if it's her last breath when they put the handcuffs on her. She needs to go to jail. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And if somebody goes back and sees that I said this, I said what I said.
Listen, and like, because there's no grace for Bill Cosby.
Nope.
There's no grace for like anybody who's committed the crime. Like, why are we upholding? Yes, she's an old, frail white woman, but like at the time that she did this crime, she was not.
And that's what we're talking about
Yeah.
in this moment.
Yeah.
She can be forgiven because it happened 60 years ago.
Yeah.
We're supposed to give her grace and let her slide because now she's in her 80s.
Mm-hmm. But Emmett Till didn't even get to his 80s.
Bill Cosby, did they care how old he was?
Oh no, that man.
Did they care?
Nobody.
So,
yeah.
it's the rules, man. That card.
Woo, we got deep.
Yeah, that went
We be
somewhere.
getting deep
That went somewhere.
sometimes. Oh my gosh.
What y'all talking about in these comments? I can't read it.
You want me to read? Let's see. Where do we end up? Right people do change. That was Fifi. Jamoya, as long as it's in the dictionary, you need to figure out the context. What were we talking about there?
Probably those words that are offensive. Is that what
Yeah,
you meant?
Probably. And then Spicy said all the 11 color characters would have never been. That's facts.
That is big
That
facts.
is facts. None of them.
That is big
Yeah.
facts.
Let's see. Jamoya says, no one wants to have a conversation with opposite opinions. And that's a problem.
That is a problem.
I
I don't have to think like you think.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But if I'm open to what you're expressing and how you feel, why should I diminish your thoughts and feelings?
Right. And your thoughts and feelings,
matter.
They actually absolutely matter. And we come from two different perspectives. Mm-hmm. There is a show on YouTube. I can't think of it. It's like Middle Ground or The Middle something. Mm-hmm. But it takes people from polar opposite experiences and lets them have like this conversation. And there was like, like for example, you'll have like male rights activist versus feminist. Now, listen, I was with the feminists. We couldn't come to a middle ground on some of that stuff. But there's also like, you know, like it'll have like people who are monogamous versus in polyamorous relationships, and just like having real talk, like coming to, and they'll ask questions like, how many of you feel this way? And you see that people might have a similar experience or similar feelings, but just landed on the opposite side somehow.
Right.
And I think a lot of people are realizing that's what's missing. Like for the past, it feels like, especially, it's been for a while, but especially the past 12 years has just been like bickering, and if you believe this, we can't be friends.
Right.
And to some extent, some of that's valid because some of the beliefs people have are actually dangerous to me and my people. But it's also like, but let's come and let's talk about it.
Well, and you're absolutely right. I think that's the thing. It's we don't want to listen. We don't want to know what somebody. I saw a piece of an interview with Tom Hanks, where he was talking about
Love time.
how he, you know, why had he never heard of the Tulsa riots? But he had heard about all these other things, but had never heard of that until now.
Yeah.
And so I believe that because so much information has been withheld, it makes Black people look like raging lunatics that are always complaining about something because there's no context to where these things are coming from. And legit, a lot of these white people don't understand. They really don't understand because they don't know about half the things that have happened.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying all.
Right.
You know, but there are a lot of folks that just really are clueless and really think that we just be out here protesting just because it's Tuesday.
Like, especially when you put it into context, like slavery was 400, maybe like, was however many years ago, 200 years ago. It was not that long ago. But for people to feel like it's so many generations removed.
And it ended.
And it ended. And now we equal, but you didn't talk about all the stuff that in between
that
there.
were the effects of it.
Yeah, you don't talk about like, and since then, how we still haven't gained
y'all
equity or equality.
Tore our families apart.
Yeah, it's so many missing parts. So it's like, of course you're making up stuff.
Right, because that's not my reality.
Right.
So it never happened.
And then when you have people who are like, let's not teach critical race theory. It's not called critical race theory, it's history. Like, let's just teach history.
Only teach the parts that we made up that make us look good.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens when they draw maps. Whatever the country is that the map is made in, that country is always the biggest place on the map, right?
Yeah.
When in reality, that's not the size of that country.
Yeah.
And I think that's how history is.
Yeah.
You know, they want to teach history like that.
It gets really deep. Like, I don't know how I got into this deep dive of like North Carolina history or whatever. But I know for sure like the daughter of the Confederates were really big in like the statues being built, the Confederate statues, and kind of like switching up the language to say like, you know, these are our heroes, these are our family members.
Right.
They were for the, you know, they were for the South, they were fighting for the pride of the South.
And that was real to them.
And then the curriculum, like the type of curriculum that they made sure that we're going to teach this person and this person and this person in history. And they put a lot of money behind it.
Yes.
And they put a lot of money behind museums and preserving their history so it could be remembered a certain way. And now all that's being challenged. But
it's being taken down.
It's being taken down. It was a true effort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's so much of this stuff is coming to the light. And I will say, as much as I, talk about these millennials, they are, some of them really are like getting into this to try to figure out like what's really going on,
right,
and making some changes.
Yeah, I love it. I think the changes are necessary. I mean, we have to know our history, and the fact that people feel like they're race is threatened by true history being taught just speaks a lot to other things. But we have drifted.
We really did. This
We
went
started.
to another place, but
We started.
we were talking about Beyonce.
We started with Queen Bee and made our way over down the deep. It gets
Oh
deep.
my God.
Zipper is. I'm also very against world bending. The world bending for our feelings on everything. You'll always find someone to have a cry about something. People are so afraid to have their opinions challenged. That is a huge downfall of social media. Today, you can find your echo chamber and be in that so long that anyone who disagrees is going against society. Yeah, and that's that. What's that? Conservative, like Trumpist social media. It's like Parler or something like that, where people are like, or 4chan, like where people just can have their thoughts in an echo chamber and they be like, yeah, you're right. And that's how you get all this incel culture. I didn't know what incel was until lately. That's weird. Involuntary celibate men. Whole culture of people who just blame everybody else for their problems. It's deep, y'all. So I agree. Spicy says how they literally freed the slaves and put the loophole directly into the amendment. Yep. That loophole that slavery can come back. It's not guaranteed. It's some crazy stuff. Y'all, you've been great right here. We're ending it right here, but we're going to continue some talk over here with our people in the live. So if you want to hear what we're talking about with the people in the live, you'll hit that notification button. So you'll hear when we are out here having these conversations. Be sure to follow us on all social media. It's been fun.
It has been fun, and I like you said, we took it somewhere today. we took a left turn.
Right. I feel like I need
Fifth Street.
I need to go free my soul right now. I need to have
You won't break my soul.
Oh man, let's do this again.
Yes, let's.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
I mean it.
I mean it too.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Random Ass Convos. Until next time. Y'all. It was a great discussion. I love everything y'all added to this. Oh my gosh.